Okay, so the last part I wanted to talk about is the cult of Jimmy. I I don't I don't know. So, I will say, hold on, one second here. Put that away. So I will say that I did miss a part when it came to the synopsis. So the synopsis actually doesn't start on the island. It starts in in a small place. I don't know, was it Scotland? I don't remember. It was one of some European little country, and like it starts where the trailer starts in the first episode with them watching the Teletubbies, trademark. And then the mom bursting in and zombies burst in and everything, and the kids are there. And there's a little kid there named Jimmy, and he goes through the house and we see the zombies just raging and everything and they're killing everybody and it's like cool because they're zombies. And then the kid runs across to a church and his dad is apparently in here. His dad's like a preacher or something like that. And like he gives his son a cross, like a little cross necklace, and tells him just like, yeah, the our time has come, blah blah blah, a bunch of cryptic religious kind of shit. And like we're like, okay. And he hides the son goes and hides in a little like trapdoor compartment almost underneath the church. And then the zombies come, they eat his dad. His dad turns, and then like, yeah, it's like, okay. And Jimmy survived. And like my first thought, the whole movie almost, was that the father of Spike was that kid. That his dad was the preacher guy, that Jimmy, this kid, was the father of Spike, right? Because like that's a natural progression in movies where it's like you show the first part and then it's like, okay, yeah, this is the kid all grown up with a kid of his own, with a son of his own. Again, I thought this was going to be more of a father son kind of movie where it focuses kind of on that dynamic. Again, no. It's more of a mother son kind of thing. Um, but with that being said, like, so I was like wondering who's Jimmy, and like at one point in the movie, while the mother and Spike are like walking through this field or whatever, on the side of a building, it says, "Behold," I think it says, "Behold, he brings the clouds," and like it's right next to "Behold," like the "Behold, he brings the clouds" are in pretty nice lettering, and then on it next to it is scrawled Jimmy. And I'm just like, okay, that's kind of weird. Like, "Behold, Jimmy, he brings the clouds." Did Jimmy bring the clouds? Like, what? And I was like, so, okay, so what's this? And like again, my mom was thinking like it's gonna be a cult thing. She was definitely on the side of it being like a cult thing. And I was like, okay, we never hear about Jimmy after that. The doctor guy never mentions Jimmy. There's no mention of Jimmy after that until the very end of the film. So remember I was talking about the whole guys in like 80s jumpsuits coming out and doing karate and killing the zombies. Well, that guy is the Jimmy. So the guy so like Spike runs to the rocks, to give a bit better description of that scene because it was just a synopsis. But Spike runs to the rocks and he's just like, oh crap, like he's running out of bows, like he's running out of arrows. I mean rows, and like the zombies are still coming, and like all of a sudden there's a guy with like a blue jumpsuit, like up on the rocks. He's like, "Hey, you're doing pretty good, little dude, but like, can we take over from here?" Like, it's literally that chill. That's not exactly what he says, but it's that chill. And he's like, "Okay," and then his freaking troop jump out, and of course they're doing a whole bunch of kicks and flips and stuff, and 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 like, so I'm looking at it, and like, and then it kind of like zooms in on this guy that's up on the rocks, and he's got like this long, like, he looks almost like David from Alien Covenant, where he's got this really kind of like long hippie-ish blonde hair. The more I think about this end scene, the more it makes me laugh because it's just so out of nowhere. But anyways, um, yeah, the and then it zooms in on him, and he's wearing a cross necklace, and, like, the cross is upside down, though, and, like, it's hinting to, like, this is Jimmy, but we don't know who Jimmy is. So it ends on this weird freaking cliffhanger, um, and, like, people have I haven't looked up too many theories on what people think the ending's supposed to mean. There's a lot of people who do YouTube videos on it that are just like, "The ending you didn't know," or "The ending you didn't," but for the life of me, I cannot put together what all of this meant because none of it's correlated. So, the modern world thing, the doctor never talks about the modern world thing. The modern world thing doesn't talk about the doctor. The doctor doesn't talk about Jimmy. Jimmy doesn't talk about the modern world. The modern world doesn't talk about Jimmy. The doctor doesn't talk about Jimmy. Jimmy doesn't talk about the doctor. Like, none of the things that are in this film are like correlated in any way. There's like several different plots going on at the same time where it's like I don't know what else to say other than what the hell is going on because there's so many things. It's like I can't find a correlation. Does the religious part aspect, like Jimmy having a dad who was a priest or whatever and carrying the necklace, is that correlated to the doctor being like, remember the dead? Is or is it the other way around? Like religion is bad and like because it's picks and chooses people or something like that. Like I don't know. I'm trying to really wrap my head around like what the ending of this movie was and what Jimmy was. What is Jimmy? Like, what is the Jimmy? Like, it doesn't make any sense. And it's like, it's messing me up because it's like, we had this whole thing in the beginning, but it didn't really go into what that was about. Like, what was the father talking about there? Again, this would have worked so much better if it had been a if Jimmy, the kid at the beginning, had been Spike's dad, where it could have been like, we know what Spike saw his dad go through. Spike's dad saw his dad die, all right? Like, just basically offer himself to the zombies. And, like, that's probably pretty traumatic. So, like, Spike's dad being maybe a little overprotective or something. But no, we have this random character who we know nothing about. No one ever talks about him, and, even if it would have been even if we had had, like, some mention on the island of um, the Jimmy cult or something like that, where there's these they speak of these people out there that, like, are really skilled at fighting zombies, I guess, I don't know. Like, there's nothing to take from this, like, they're colorful so are they part of the modern world? Because they have, like, modern world clothes. They don't have clothes that are, like, handmade like Spike and his mom did. So, like but what are they doing there? Are they just going to kill all the zombies? Is the Jimmy cult coming to, kill all the zombies? And if so, what exactly does the "Behold Jimmy, he brings the clouds" mean? What does that mean? Was Jimmy and his people the ones that strung that guy up in the beginning in the house? Like, I don't know. None of it's correlated. There's, like so it would've been cool if we saw, like, in the building where the guy was strung up, we could've seen in the back of the wall that saying instead of on some fucking random building in the middle of a field that no one would see except the audience because they want us to see it in the building where the guy was hanging, maybe on the back of the wall behind the guy, it could say, "Behold, Jimmy, he brings the clouds," right? Because then it would correlate. It would correlate the guy being strung up as punishment to Jimmy. This is what he does to people who get out of line or something like that. Like, there's nothing. It gives us nothing. I have no idea if any of these things are correlated. It did a horrible job trying to like convey a bigger message when literally I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't know if what is going on because I don't know. I don't know what is happening. Yeah, the Jimmy thing is just weird, and also, like, I don't know what else to say. Like, my notes again. If there was anything. Here, no, I just literally have WTF was the Jimmy call about. I don't I I don't know what to say, guys. I don't know what to say. I I'm trying, like, I was trying so hard to, like, when I was putting my notes together here, I was trying so hard to, like, fit puzzle pieces together. And even then, don't ever do that. Like, if a movie doesn't make it clear, like there are some movies who are that are like ambiguous on purpose and you can tell. But like some movies, you shouldn't need to look further than the surface level to see the message they're trying to convey, or else you're just being bad at conveying a message, right? It's just it, like the two things don't correlate. Like if someone ran up to you and was like they had like a book of, I don't know, dinosaurs, right? They had a book of dinosaurs and they ran up to you and they're just like, God is coming, and they smacked the book in your face and then ran off. And you'd be like, pick up the book. Maybe it's a Bible. It's not a Bible. It's about dinosaurs. And it's like those two things don't really correlate with each other, right? Like I could go on about how like the whole dinosaur religion thing. Some religious people think that dinosaurs aren't real or something like that. But like even then, that's what I'm saying is that it's a stretch, right? Where it's like you're trying to fit puzzle pieces where they don't fit, right? It doesn't make any sense. Like dinosaurs, some religious people thinking that dinosaurs were meant to trick people's faith and like correlating with the guy saying God is coming doesn't make it make sense. It's just you fitting correlations together that may or may not even be there. Like it just that's what I'm saying where it's like you shouldn't have to like make stretches in order to make someone's film or someone's book make sense, right? Like it should be pretty cut and clear, or it should be ambiguous to the sense of like this is a movie that is a drug trip, right? There's some movies that are just fucking drug trips where it's like, okay, what is actually happening here? Like Hereditary, or like I don't know, any of my movies that I have are all pretty strange. Or but like it like you can't, so take like I don't know, Long Legs for example, a movie that's come out like last year I think. And like I like that movie, and like it's it it is very clear cut, even though you may not catch it the first time, right? It's one of those movies where you have to watch it again to actually get what they're talking about. And like and then it clicks. Like there's a couple times in the film where I was watching it and like you actually see the silhouette of Satan in that film. And like until I watched it a couple times, I didn't catch that. I caught it once in the first time in the movie. I was like, "Oh my god, that's so cool." Like because you don't know if it's real or not, and then it is real, and it is very like Long Legs very much tells you what it's about. It's about Satan. It's about like evil. It's about just straight up evil. Like in the whole cuz like when I watched it first time in the theaters, I was very confused. But then when I watched it a second times, like when I watched it in the theater, I was confused, but I liked it. I was like, cool, this is so awesome. And then I watched it a couple more times and I was like, oh, that's what they meant. Like the whole I'm a friend of a friend thing like started to make more sense. The whole doll thing, the whole she got away, the daughter was like was supposed to be sacrificed, and maybe that's why she has these powers in that way, right? Where it's like she was the one that got away, she wasn't supposed to even live, which is what the mom is talking about when she goes to see her, where it's like some people weren't supposed some people are lucky to even be alive and you're one of them, and she didn't know how literal her mom was being there, right? Where it's like you can when you watch it over again you can find those cool little things, right? You'll be like, oh, that's what happened. Making stretching correlations to things is not something that I necessarily like doing in films. I like theorizing, don't get me wrong, but there's a difference between theorizing about a film and trying to be like, maybe this is connected to this, or this is connected to this, and this is connected to this, without any proof, right? Like at that point, it's like a conspiracy theory where it's like Sure, we can theorize that maybe Jimmy and his cult were the ones that tied that guy up, but like there's no evidence whatsoever to suggest that's what he did. For all Jimmy and his cult have as much like um they occupy the same space in my brain to tie up that guy as the doctor does. Maybe the doctor tied up that guy. They have the same amount of evidence going for them there in the way that there is none. Like we don't know who tied up the guy. Spike's dad never talks about it. He says that maybe it's a form of punishment. Maybe it is. But who did it? Like I want to know who the hell tied this guy up and left him for zombies. Like maybe he was turning. Was he turning already? So they just tied him up and let him turn? Or was it actually a punishment? Did he do something wrong? It doesn't make any sense. Same with the mask thing. The mask thing was a big thing in the trailer and it does nothing in the film where it's like it's another one of those things where it's like a stretch to even correlate it with anything. What does the mask mean? The guy puts the mask on the fucking um scarecrows that they go to shoot. He puts the mask on. There's a little girl wearing a mask. He's wearing a mask. The older dude is wearing a mask at one point that's teaching the young children to shoot. You see it on his head. He's not wearing it, but it's on his head when he's riding his bicycle down. Like, it's like, what is up with the fucking mask thing? And it never goes anywhere. Like, it doesn't do anything. They don't, like, even if we had something when Spike and his dad got back and they gave him a mask, it could like signify something, right? That like only people who are zombie killers get these masks or something, and it's like, oh yeah, it's kind of a rite of passage kind of thing, right? Sure, I could go with that. But we don't get that. The mask does nothing in the film. It's so creepy, sure, but that's all it is. It's fucking set dressing because it's like there's nothing in the mask that ties it back to anything in the film of relevance. Like it's just there. And like I don't know about y'all, but I really don't like that kind of storytelling in movies in any type of fiction really. So, with that being said, we're going to get on to our last point here, but yeah, that kind of just sucks, you know. But yeah. So, the Jimmy.